What's that?
I don't know if I'll be able to explain myself.
Oh, do you know, I'm not actually even concerned about that. I think you'll have a lot to say. I think you'll have a lot to say. It'll be so much fun though. Okay, let me sit over here-ish. Come sit by me and then, yeah. If we sit over here, this will be a nice backdrop here. And I'll get my camera over here set up as well. Thanks for being willing, by the way.
Sure, no problem.
Like I say, it's always tough to know what you're saying yes to, but I think you'll be pleased. All right, I think we're all set here. My audio is good. My name is Biniam, by the way. What's your name?
Guri.
How do you spell that?
Guri.
How many Guris have you met before?
I think 2 or 3. I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're my first.
All right.
Nice.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So like I said, Guri, we're having a series of questions to choose from. I'm gonna grab my questions here. Choose me a number between 1 and 15.
It's 2.
Number 2. I like how you're so decisive that you're like, there we go. Okay, number 2. Can integrity be subjective, or is there like a universal sort of level that everyone has to subscribe to for what it looks like?
I don't think there must be a universal sort of level because
Okay.
everybody has their own perspectives on everything. And it also depends on the circumstances you're in.
True.
So, yeah. But you definitely must have an open mind to everything. You must be ready to take it in all perspectives. Because your perspective is not always the right one. You need to listen to other people as well and make your decisions based on rationality.
I like it. Can I press a little further? Okay.
I think that's all I have to say for now.
That's all you have to say for now. How would you define integrity in the first place?
Integrity, staying true to oneself, staying true to others, doing ethically right things, and being morally right. Even though every person's morals are different, but yeah, morally right. As long as you feel like you've done right by yourself, right by your morals and ethics, I think you're good. That's
Cool.
what integrity is comprised of.
Right. Okay. And then I love the part of your answer where you're saying it's quite subjective because there's many different, I guess, levels that people subscribe to as far as morals. What is out of bounds then when it comes to integrity?
I think unethical views or like Machiavellianism in some sort of ways, because
Yeah.
it's like dark traits of psychology, right? In some sort of ways you can follow it, but for your own advantage.
Yeah.
I personally use it sometimes, those traits,
Yeah.
but not to hurt other people, just for your own good.
Yeah.
Making sure in the process that like the other person is not hurt, or you're not bringing down the other person for your own good. So yeah.
So there is like a way to say decisively, this is not what integrity looks like.
Yeah.
And that's the part I was just trying to figure out, especially with the subjective part. There is a way that we all kind of say, okay, this feels right, but this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And you're saying when it's unethical according to a community, I guess?
Again, depends. If you like to stay true to the community guidelines and
Right.
do what the community does,
Yeah.
then yeah, sure, you wouldn't go ahead with your decisions if you want to follow along the community. Because there's a lot of people from like different regions, especially the Asian
Yeah.
one, where they think like, oh, the community's gonna say this about me or think that about me.
Right.
Whereas in other regions or like individualistic regions, like here in America, right?
Yeah.
They don't think about that much. They just make their own decisions.
So
and
true.
stuff.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Like the contrast between like community-based gatherings versus individualistic-based ones. Yeah. No, I never thought of that. I'm gonna have to think about that one. Really good point. All right. As you know, my podcast is specifically directed towards young men. In general, Guri, do you feel young men are doing amazing in the sphere of integrity, generally, or in your experience, do you find that collectively they struggle?
I wouldn't say collectively, but there's definitely a large segment of us where we could be distracted, or we're just after the basic. Everybody's after the necessities of life, but they have so much more potential to do so much more stuff, and they should definitely continue to keep striving more. It doesn't hurt. It's for your own good and for the community's good as well.
I've been asked on occasion, like, have you arrived? And I'm like, no, I'm still striving, even like while commit myself to it. So I like that element of keeping striving. What are some of the key areas in your observation that you say, here's some points of challenge that kind of make us stumble in this pursuit of integrity?
I guess the internet has made it kind of things cloudy, along with their perspectives, because there's so many opinions bouncing off of your head. There's so many people with different opinions, and then there's the internet. There's so much stuff going around, the AI stuff going around as well. So yeah, it does get. I think it's gotten a lot tougher along the recent times, but as long as you know what the source is, as long as you know that your mentors or your friend circle is good, you can trust their perspectives. I think the person should head in the right direction.
Some helpful hints or suggestions you'd make to young guys who come to you and say, Guri, we're trying to figure out how to do this better. What would your suggestions be to them?
I think not to chase after the cloud. Keep your circle good, your friend circle good.
Yeah.
Make sure to have at least one mentor in your life. And even when times get tough, just keep your head high. Make rational decisions, not based off of emotions. And just keep striving for the best, for better things.
Would you say you're optimistic or ambivalent or pessimistic in reference to the future?
I would say optimistic.
What drives that?
I just stay positive about things. Like, just a happy to go person. So I feel like things could be better in the future for sure.
Amazing. One last question. Do you have any questions for me?
What drove you to make this podcast, especially for like the audience of young men?
I love the question. Okay, so a couple of things. One significant one was for years, decades actually, I lived without integrity. I tried to find how to live with integrity, but I didn't have any mentors like you were mentioning, and I was fumbling my way forward. I made some, over the course of time, I made some really awful mistakes and hurt many, many people. And when I look back, it's just more sadness that I see in my own story. Having made some realizations and coming to experience what integrity could look like with help, I'm more driven now to say, how can I make this more accessible to others who are where I once used to be? Why the specific audience? That's a great question. This is more funny because before I did this, I had, you'll find when you see my content, especially on TikTok, there was a huge increase of influence that I gained as an Uber driver once upon a time. And the primary audience, I mean, I reached the whole gamut of ages, but primarily the ones who really resonated with it were young guys. I didn't realize why. And that was the weirdest thing because I don't look like young men today. I don't act like them. I'm not into the same things, but they really, really engaged enthusiastically with it. Even to this day, like in the city here, the primary group who usually recognize me, they're like, hey, you're that guy, and they reference how they remember me, and it's young men. And then there was a couple of people in my life who were saying, Binyam, have you considered maybe speaking specifically to young men, because you've got a lot to say? And so it wasn't because I chose them, but it was almost because like circumstances sort of said, this is kind of like where you should
be the better target audience.
Sorry, say again?
They could be the better target audience.
And I also feel strongly about them too, just because I still remember.
Safe face.
Absolutely, yeah. I still remember what it was like to have confusion and that kind of thing. So
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why.
Right. That's good. That's good.
Yuri, I appreciate your time. Thank you for being willing to be a part of this.
Right.
And when I take off camera here, I'll let you know where you can find this content. I usually post like one of these a day kind of thing.
Okay.
So it'll be a couple of weeks before you find
For sure,
our time. But I really appreciate you. Now tell me your experience afterwards. Was it like you did not know what you were engaging beforehand? Are you okay with this?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You're not having second thoughts
No,
about
I'm all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your insights. There are some things I'm going to be thinking about there too.
That's good.
That's awesome. Well, brother, if you don't want to find it, like I say, it's Inspiring Young Men to Integrity, and it is
It's on YouTube.
on YouTube.
I only have YouTube.
That's cool. But with it being on YouTube, search for my name though. That's where you'll find it. My name is Binyam, Binyam, Asre.
ASRE.
SS.
That's right here.
That's me.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I'll subscribe to you.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
All right. No worries.
I hope to see you again along the way sometime, eh?
For sure.